In the post-Watergate era, there had been a general pattern by presidents to voluntarily take steps to eliminate both actual conflicts of interest and even the appearance of conflicts. Famously, President Jimmy Carter placed his family's peanut farm into a trust. President Barack Obama avoided refinancing his Chicago family home because of the optics, since he was regulating the banking industry. Instead of following the precedent set by past presidents, Donald Trump has gone completely in the other direction with an ever-growing list of actions benefiting himself, his family, and his allies. Just look at the headlines from just this week, including Dell Computers winning a huge Pentagon contract after Trump had been hyping the company and reportedly purchased between $1 million and $5 million in Dell stock. The Trump Organization says that outside brokerage firms made the trades with no involvement from Trump, his family, or the organization. There is ProPublica's reporting that the White House intervened to get a $620 million deal for a company tied to President Trump's adult son, Don Jr. Of course, all the parties involved are denying the story or not talking at all. And there is the New York Times is reporting that the contractor working on the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool renovations, who didn't even have to bid on the project and who Trump said was chosen because the contractor had worked on the swimming pool at one of his golf clubs, that guy got a contract that has an allegedly inflated profit margin. An Interior Department spokeswoman defended the contract's costs to the Times, claiming it was necessary to expedite the completion of the project ahead of the country's 250th anniversary. The thing is, in a normal presidency, any one of these stories would be a massive scandal warranting weeks of coverage and maybe even some congressional hearings. But in this presidency, it's just another day ending in day. Joining us now, Norm Eisen, founder and executive chair of the Democracy Defenders Fund and former special counsel for ethics in the Obama administration. He is the man who told President Obama he could not refinance his home.
He knows a little bit.
Right.
He knows a little bit.
So you know a lot about this, Norm. I mean, I was sort of gobsmacked in the latter part of last week when one thing after another came out where the president lost in court, where judges are pushing back. But, I mean, the scandals here, I just wonder, why don't you think Washington is just ablaze in fury over the president literally just, I'm just going to say it, stealing from the American people?
Well, I do think that the past days have marked an inflection point.
Really?
Both with the scandals erupting, the stock trades, that got everybody's attention, where the president is trading in Dell stock.
His team says it's not him doing it, it's someone else for him.
Well, it's on his...
It's on his thing.
It's on his form that goes to, that he must file with the federal government. And I do not think we need to take it at face value. I have nothing to do with it. Let's see the proof that he had nothing to do with it. Then you have this deal for Vulcan Elements, the Don Jr. Associated Company, where the White House intervened with the Pentagon. 50 Shades of Blue, the reflecting pool.
That's good.
Sorry.
That is so good.
But it's not just the scandals. What we're seeing is the pushback. On Friday at Democracy Defenders Fund and Democracy Defenders Action, we got the two biggest court pushbacks on Donald Trump's conduct, with the Kennedy Center renaming and closing. How much is it worth to put your name on the Kennedy Center? That's like something they do in North Korea. President says, I'm going to put my name everywhere. The court said, no, you can't rename it. You can't close it unless you comply with the law. That was one of the biggest corruption scandals of the administration. And then that was our case, then with wonderful partners. And then on the $1.8 billion fund. the judge in Florida very sternly written order reopening that case and investigating what went on there. Again, that's a big win for us and our partners. So it's not only what Donald Trump is doing, it's the pushback. And like with the Epstein files, this $1.8 billion fund, this Kennedy Center case, has gripped the attention of the country.
One of the things that when you come on here, you always bring a lot of optimism that it's going to work out.
It's because of all the free coffee back there in the green room. It charges me up.
And then after you leave, I'm like, he thinks this thing is going to work out. But you were right. You came on here and said for both of these cases that you guys were going to prevail. They'll probably uphill and they'll keep going. But one of the things that I'm curious about, this is my theory of the American people, is that, and probably people in general, people are probably fine with and are able to ignore alleged corruption when things in their life are going fine, right? Y'all were screaming from the rooftops about the Emoluments Clause during the first administration, right? Where he was having foreign entities stay at what was the Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C. and at other properties around the country. No one really cared. It didn't break through with the American people, but this seems to be breaking through. And that part of that is because gas, the average of gas is like $4.50 or something, and continues to climb. It doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. They're watching as their healthcare costs continue to get high. They're looking at the ways in which they have to make a decision between food and gas some days. And as you're looking at how the American people are taking all of this in, right? How do you think they're feeling? What are you hearing? Because you talk to people.
Well, the polling, but also the more anecdotal evidence both suggest that Donald Trump is at historic lows in his popularity. And I think you hit on the iron triangle that is trapping him now, Eugene. There is a cost of living crisis in this country, from the gas pump to healthcare costs. It is tied directly to the corruption and to the competence crisis. So take the Iran war. We went to war. Now we're fighting to get back to the status quo. Right. And that is hitting all of us in the pocketbook. I was shocked when I went to the gas pumps. And people will, when I was in the White House, tormenting everybody with making
with
them
rules. Very annoying.
And laws and the Constitution. When I was there, the political side of the House said, watch gas prices over the summer. That is the single strongest indicator of performance in an upcoming election cycle. So there's a much broader cost of living crisis, but it's driven by the cost of these corruption scandals. That's a tax that every American has to pay. And there's so many, it piles up, it's breaking through. And then the sheer incompetence. And I think that explains it's an important determinant in Donald Trump's low popularity.
So we have about 45 seconds. I want to go back to both of these cases that you guys just won in court on Friday, or won in the next round of questioning. I think we are seeing at the district court judge level, people who are standing up for the rule of law. I do worry about, as these cases go through the federal judiciary and perhaps make their way to the U.S. Supreme Court, that the U.S. Supreme Court is going to be a backstop for perhaps this case and other cases. What's your take just about the state of the judiciary in this context?
I think on certainly plenty to dislike about the Supreme Court's jurisprudence, but on some of the most important rule of law, anti-corruption cases, the Supreme Court does the right thing. National Guard case, remember, we represent cities around the country on that matter. Supreme Court stopped Donald Trump. We were just in court on the birthright citizenship case.
We're still waiting for that ruling.
We think we're going to win that case. We have an injunction that has stuck. The Supreme Court didn't touch it. Fed Governor Lisa Cook, that's another one of our cases, this outrageous pattern of criminalizing your opponents, innocent, did nothing. We think we're going to be successful there. So I think on some of these, I think Kennedy Center, on the $1.8 billion fund, those wins will survive higher court review.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Norm Eisen with his optimism as always. We thank you. And the little notebook. Y'all don't see me. He always has a notebook full of all the wins.
I need to get a bigger notebook with all these wins.
Thank you so much. Exactly.